Hey everybody, it's Boardman21 and today's video is going to be the Forge Guard Shield Throw with some Devouring Orbs, actually the maximum number of them that you can get for increased damage. We'll also be running Sigils, and Abyssal Echoes will be there to increase our damage over time with its buff that stacks, so that whenever we need a little bit of help doing some more damage to like a single target, we can just pop that and get 100 to 200% more damage over time. And then we'll be using Smite for the 50% increased throw attack speed, and we will have our sigils just set up for the increased damage and then just maximum duration, along with armor, because the chest piece that we're using gives us mana regen based on how much armor we have. A lot of people wear that as a Sentinel just for that mana regen, because it's hard to get mana regen. And with that, let's go ahead and get into the skills. For skills, we're going to be running Smite, Abyssal Echoes, Sigils of Hope, Devouring Orb, and Shield Throw. For Smite, we're just using it for the attack speed. So we got 1 point in Holy Wave, 3 points in Righteous Fury, and 5 points in Righteous Flurry, along with 1 point in Descend so that we teleport when we use it ourselves if we need to get out of trouble. 5 points in Aftershock for Fissure duration, 1 point in Fissure so that we cause a fissure whenever we smite under the enemy, and 4 points in Epic Center to increase the area of said fissure. Abyssal Echoes. We're using this for one thing. We are just using this to stack our global damage over time. We get 28% every time that we cast it in the last 4 seconds. So as many times as you can cast it in that amount of time is that much more global damage over time. So we have 3 points in Echomancer, 4 points in Abyssal Infusion, 1 point in Creeping Decay to make it stack, 1 point in Temporal Echo, and 4 points in Abyssal Cadence. We have 2 points in Reality's Dirge to increase the cooldown, 4 points in Abyssal Remains for mana efficiency, and 1 point in Mental Echoes to make it an instacast. So all together on this, we're actually getting 6 casts. So there's the initial cast when you cast it, then there's 1 point in Temporal Echo, which gives you that 1 extra echo, and 4 more points in Abyssal Cadence gives you 4 additional recasts. So you get 1 for cast, 2 here, and 4 more here for a total of 6. They do cast 1 second apart, so this is only for the last 4 seconds. So in the last 4 seconds when you cast it, after it's cast that 4th time, and all the way till the 6th time, you'll be carrying 112% extra global damage over time. If you cast this, since it has a 1.6 second cooldown with the 2 points in Reality's Dirge, if you cast it more than once, each time you cast it, you're going to be getting that 112% damage over time. So you can get 2 stacks of this before the first ones will start wearing off and still get that maximum set. So you can at most get 3 casts before you've overdone the cooldown on it, meaning that at most you can get 300%-ish damage over time, which is pretty huge, especially on single targets, as this is a damage over time build. For Sigils of Hope, we're using this for increased armor, and we just want maximum duration, and it gives us a good damage boost. It also increases our block chance, which for every block that we can get more armor, and that increases our mana regen. So we're using it basically for an armor generator, which gives us mana generator, and having the duration on it helps us not have to cast it so much. So we have 5 points in Empowering Sigils for that damage granted, 1 point in Last Wish so that we have a chance to get it on kill, 4 points in Iron Sigils for that 200 armor per sigil, 5 points in Enduring Hope for duration, 1 point in Tetragram for an extra sigil, 1 point in Meditation just to unlock the block chance, and that's 3 points in Sign of the Guardian. For Devouring Orb, this is our main damage dealer. How we're using this is we wanted to get as many Devouring Orbs as possible, and we want to make them fire their Abyssal Orb as much as possible. So we have 2 points in Void Adept for some global overtime damage, 1 point in Hollow Orb to make them last 50% longer, 1 point in Abyssal Emission, and 7 points in Dark Torrent. 1 point in Dark Moon will get them to follow you. 2 points in Abyssal Rush will give you some boost in mana speed. If you're not worried about running around with speed, which we're really not in this, we could take these 2 points out and put 2 more points in Dark Torrent just to get more poison damage, because they will be firing faster. But we also have 1 point in Cataclysm, which the negative 40% duration basically offsets the 50% extra duration you got in Hollow Orb. But we did this so we could put 5 points in Orb Master for that 150% cooldown recovery. The normal cooldown on Devouring Orb is 4 seconds. With 5 points in there, you actually knock it down to 1.6. So you can almost get 2.5 orbs basically cast in the same amount of time as you could have got with this. So you can cast one every 1.6 seconds. They last for about 11 seconds. So you can get between 6 and 7 of them at all times as long as you're casting at the moment it comes off cooldown. With no points in any mana efficiency, that means that this spell, which costs 30 mana now, is actually pretty spendy. We do have 173 mana on this build, and we'll go over that with the items, but basically without the Ural's Pride as the chess piece granting us a lot of mana regen on top of us having a lot of armor, there'd be no way to keep up with casting this constantly, keeping up on your sigils and being able to cast Abyssal Echoes. But with the mana regen on Ural's Pride, you'll have to build all your other defenses without, being able to use a crafted chess piece, just so that you can keep up with all the mana that all of this costs. And then with Shield Throw, we're using it for as many ricochets as possible, and we're using it for armor on ricochets, and we will probably switch it up a bit and try and get into the health granted on ricochet just to heal ourselves more. But right now with Regenerator and the passives, you get 16 health on hit, so just making this ricochet as much as possible is already giving us good health. So we got 1 point in Ricochet, 3 points in Aegis, 1 point in Eruption, 1 point in Molten Shield, 5 points in Polished Steel, 1 point in Focus Campaign, 1 point in Shielded Barrage, 2 points in Armoring Aegis, 3 points in Ironmonger, and 2 points in Hemren's Technique. For items, we are wearing the Plague Bearer's Staff. Yes, it's back, and in this build you want it because all of your orbs and all of the hits they do and all of your shield throw ricochets are all getting that 236% chance to poison on hit. They're also inflicting plague, which can then put poison on all the enemies around them, and with all the damage over time that you can get stacked with Abyssal Echoes and all the general damage that you get when you get hit as a Forge Guard or when you have sigils active, it just makes sense to get as much poison, which is one of the most powerful damage over times that you can do, as long as you can have the mana for it, which with Ural's Pride we get the mana back because we usually get just a massive amount between 5 and 10k armor, sometimes even more when we get a lot of blocks in, and that really helps just put the damage out on this build. Everything else that we're wearing is just crafted. We do have the set elemental going on, protections, basically all protections on all items. There's no damage that we put on anything else. We did get 100% glancing blow. We have T5 on both the boots, the belt, the gloves, and the helm, and then just the 4-piece set elemental along with regular protections on all of the jewelry. For idols, we're running the Sigils of Hope duration. That's really all that we cared about in this build, so we got a couple with +4 seconds on them. We also need at least one idol in there for a chance to proc Smite when you hit with a throwing attack. It's a waste on a shield throw not to have that in there, especially if you're spec'd into Smite. And the last 4, I would have put a second Smite one in here, but I'm not sure what character I left it on. Haven't wanted to look through all 100 of them, so we just went with some necrotic and poison protection along with some health regen. The Plague Bearer does reduce your health regen. You do lose 6% of your current health drained per second. Isn't a huge amount as long as you have some health regen to fight back on that. Otherwise, you'll always be like half empty. As you can see, we're sitting full right now. Our health regen is only at 37 per second, which isn't an incredible amount, but it's enough to fight back on that. Our protections, not in battle, we're sitting over 70% on everything. We do have a 23% chance to block, and we have 100% glancing blow. As for our damage, you can see that our damage is sitting at 114% damage over time. Each sigil that we run is another 30%, and then when we use Abyssal Echoes, you can see that it just stacks up incredibly high. We stay at 256. If I do multiple casts of Abyssal Echoes, once it comes off of cooldown right away, you can see we get even higher. We got to 368, and then if I do the maximum, let's make sure my armor, my mana is full. If I do the maximum 3 casts of it, we get to the maximum amount that you can get on it. And you can see we're right there at about 400% damage over time, which with 4 sigils, which is another 120%, you're at about 600% damage over time, which is huge. Alright, going for passives. For passives in the Sentinel class, we have 8 points in Fearless, 5 points in Gladiator, 5 points in Armor Clad, and 2 points in Axe Thrower. For Void Knight, to get Devouring Orb and Abyssal Echoes, we have 7 points in Devouring Blade and 8 points in World Eater. In Paladin, to unlock Sigils, we have 15 points in here as well. We have 8 points in Defiance, 5 points in Honor, 1 point in Holy Symbol, and 1 point in Flash of Brilliance. And then our main mastery class, the Forge Guard, we have 52 points. We have 6 points in Battle Hardened, 8 points in Steel Aegis, 8 points in Petast, 10 points in Rattling Block, 8 points in Regenerator. This is your huge survivability node. 5 points to Flawless Defender, and 7 points in Retaliation. We are only level 88. We get 12 more passives. We will finish this one out. We would also like either the increased damage on potion use, or if our mana becomes a problem, which I don't think it will, you can get even more armor on a block. For us, I think 300% more damage would be huge. So putting 10 points into this by the end of this means that we'd be doing triple damage, which we're already a huge DPS build. That would just be massive. And with that, I'm just going to go ahead and leave you guys with some gameplay.